Welcome to Weaving Happiness Through Grief, where we navigate the delicate balance between love, loss, and the resilient heart. I'm Stephanie, an author and storyteller who found joy and healing after the unimaginable heartbreak of losing a once-in-a-lifetime love. This podcast dives into the raw truth of grief, the beauty of cherished memories, and the hope of new beginnings. Through my journey, rediscovering happiness and opening my heart again, I've learned that grief and joy can coexist, and love can find us when we least expect it. Join me as we honor the past, embrace the present, and step boldly into the future with courage and vulnerability. Let's celebrate the resilience of the human spirit and the beauty of living fully, even after a loss. Welcome back. One of the things I learned in this new relationship and navigating this new love, this new territory that was so different. When I met Jeff, I was excited. I was like, oh, navigating this new relationship, it was a very different experience for me because I loved Jeff. I'm still in love with him. I'll probably always be in love with him. But I also wanted to move forward. I wanted to find new love. I wanted to explore what this might be with Tim and see where this could take us. One of the toughest things I found was that I did not want to compare either one to the other. And it was a game in my head I would play, like a little chess game, a board game, because I could see, like, oh, he doesn't do that, he doesn't do that. But I didn't allow myself to tell Tim that ever, because how would that benefit our relationship? It wouldn't. It would only tear us apart, and it would hurt us in many ways I couldn't even imagine. And it wasn't fair to him. And it wasn't that he was doing anything wrong. It was just different. So comparing Jeff to Tim was something I had to get out of my head. And there's a tiny struggle, even to today. There's a tiny little struggle there. But it's so minor and it's so subtle, and I just don't let it get in the way. So I compartmentalize that, and I would make sure that I was really absorbing this new love while I was still honoring Jeff and this love and this loss that I had and that I was still working through. So again, weaving that grief through the happiness. And these were tools that I learned over the years, when my brother had passed away, when my husband passed away, compartmentalizing fears and worries. These were things I was already skilled at and trained in. I was just self-taught. So again, I needed to not put Jeff under the carpet by any stretch of the imagination. Like, he didn't belong there and I wouldn't put him there. But just know that there was a time and a place for me to love him and grieve him. And also a time and a place for me to love Tim and explore this new relationship and the differences that Tim and I had. The things that we were learning about one another that were different and same and similar and exciting and new. So navigating this new relationship was a very new territory for me. But I loved it, and I loved the excitement of it and the adventure of it. It was a really delicate balance of the memories of Jeff and living in the present. And this was a juggling act. It wasn't every day and it wasn't every hour. It was just when it would come up, I would allow myself to love Jeff and talk about Jeff and be sad about it. Or I'd go on my runs and I would talk to God and be sad about it. But at the same time, the balance again. And now I would really enjoy laughter and love and exploring this new relationship with Tim, still while honoring Jeff. One of the things that was coming up is that the kids were graduating. Jake was graduating college and Maddie was graduating grad school. So I was really excited about this. But again, this dichotomy of these feelings and these emotions. I was so excited to celebrate with them and be there with them and have Tim with me, and he was getting to know the kids and we were there to celebrate them. But at the same time, Jeff wasn't there. And it broke my heart. And the kids and I cried about it, and they missed him terribly. And Maddie has a beautiful tattoo of Jeff on her arm. I believe it says, "Love always, Jeff." It was in his writing, and she put that on her arm, and it's absolutely beautiful. And she had a tassel on her cap at her grad school graduation, and it was a picture of Jeff, and that was part of her tassel. I mean, my children adored him, and yet they too were opening their hearts to Tim, and it was so beautiful to see them still honoring him and still loving him, Jeff that is, and at the same time accepting Tim and bringing him into their lives. And so we delicately would have these talks, but part of it is so important, I find, is the openness and not hiding it all. So if you feel it, say it. If you see it, say it. And that's one of the things I taught my kids, and that's what we would do, is we would talk about it and we would share, and this allowed openness and vulnerability. And so we walked through this talking and this seeing and this saying and sharing your feelings. After Jake's graduation, I love traveling. If you haven't figured out by now, I love to travel. And he said, Mom, let's just you and me do a trip. And I thought, love it. What are we going to do? He said, let's go somewhere that neither of us have ever been. And I said, I think it's a fantastic idea. So he'd finished college right before he started his job. And the two of us planned a trip about 2 weeks long. And we picked to go to Munich, Germany. And we also went to Auschwitz, which was very moving, of course, and extremely painful, but at the same time, it was just a beautiful experience to share with Jake. Then we went down to Austria. We caught a soccer match, football match in Salzburg. We explored there for a while, and then we went up to Prague. And all the while, just enjoying one another and living this life with my son now, still talking about Jeff and bringing up memories, and Jeff will always be a part of our lives. He's always a part of our fabric of who we are. And just because we're moving forward and living life forward and exploring new relationships and loves, me and the children, it doesn't mean we're dismissing Jeff or being disrespectful to him. We're still celebrating him and loving him, and realizing that each of these relationships are very unique. My relationship with Jeff was very special and very unique, and I absolutely have so many fond memories. I will probably look back on these memories for the rest of my life, I'm sure of it. But now we're also exploring these new relationships and new relationships with my children and Tim, and seeing how that goes, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful, and I love watching them and their relationships grow. So each one of these relationships, individually, me and Tim, me and Jeff, my children with me and Tim and Jeff, and all of this all commingled, it's working. And it's meaningful. And we're celebrating them all. The differences, the similarities, and it's beautiful. And my life is feeling full again, and I love it.
As we close this episode of Weaving Happiness Through Grief, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey of remembrance, resilience, and rediscovery. Loss is a path none of us choose, but together we can walk through it, honoring the love that was and of the life that still awaits us. If today's story touched a part of your own journey, know that you're not alone. Grief, though profound, doesn't close us off from joy. It teaches us how to hold space for both love and loss. And sometimes, it opens our hearts to unexpected new beginnings. Join me next time as we continue to explore healing, acceptance, and the beautiful bittersweet moments that remind us life can still be filled with happiness. And remember, while we honor the love that has shaped us, we open ourselves to the hope that the future holds. Please head over to the show notes to find out more of the ways I offer guidance on the topics I discuss in the podcast, or visit thestephanieduran.com. Until next time, take gentle steps forward, hold your memories close, and know that joy and love in all its forms continues on.